Sorry, Skip, I'm not podcasting Sunday. It's Shomer Shabbos.
I sure as shit don't fucking cast.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Are they in the proper approach pattern for today?
Negative.
Hold the weapon! Now! Charge the lightning field.
Welcome for the Fright Times.
Welcome! Welcome to Dispatch Ajax.
This is your host, Skip Harvey.
Are you my Igor? Is that what's happening?
Is that a problem?
It seems like a demotion. You were a co-host, but now I guess you're just Igor.
It's an off day.
That'd be an interesting one to do, Igor, because the history of that is fascinating.
Plus, we get to watch that badass movie by Max Allen... No, not Max Allen Collins. By Max...
Landis.
Landis, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I interact with Max Allen Collins on a semi-regular basis, so he pops in my head.
Tells you to do things. Cleanse the streets of horrors.
I don't want to, Max. I don't want to.
But you gotta. I don't know. He sounds like Goliath in my head. I don't know.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't sound like that in real life.
When we were kids, it wasn't cool to dress up and do Halloween. That was only for like geeks and lame kids. And then now it's like you can't have a frat or a sorority party without them dressing up in a costume, right? I mean, everybody dresses up now.
I wonder if it's the thing of the delayed gratification of the thing that wasn't cool then, but's cool now. So you're doing it, like someone who maybe, I don't know, buys comic book cards from the 90s just on a whim because they have the ability now.
Jake, is there something
no one's going to judge them?
Is there something you need to talk about?
I don't need to talk about anything, Doctor.
Is there something you need to tell us?
Are you getting into your Halloween costume right now?
I literally have Starfleet uniforms lying around in my house at any given moment.
Data's going to be missing that. You better get it back to him.
I could just reach for one and, like, my eyes closed and pull out a full Starfleet uniform. Or phaser.
Whenever I'm with Data, I keep my eyes closed and just reach out, too.
Here, I'll demonstrate. Hold on. I'm just going to reach over here to the side, pull out a drawer. Here are two phasers.
Whoa! Hey, it's cool, man. It's cool. You can have my credits, all right?
We live in an egalitarian society. I don't need credits.
What do you want from me? Goods and services?
Mutual respect for all races and creeds.
Well, that's something I just can't give, phaser or no, my friend.
That's fair. Anyway, I guess we can start.
Oh, yeah. The podcast. The Spooky Podcast. What is that?
It's a sad old vampire.
I remember when podcasts were funny. Anyway, it is time for the spooks. The frights, the chills, the scares.
Hey, it's October.
It's October. That's time for scurry movies.
It's Rocktober, so...
It's Rocktober!
Okay, so the thing is, just because of who we are, we've all seen the staples. There is a baseline that you have to maintain. You have to watch Halloween. You have to watch The Exorcist. You have to watch Poltergeist. And I will still defend Poltergeist too. I don't care what anyone says.
Is that really like a burning fire that needs to be stoked? Are people
don't like that movie.
I wouldn't say it's great.
Well,
but...
for what it look. Okay, so and we're going to get into this because this is an important thing. I have a very specific framework in which I judge horror films.
Ooh, please do tell.
Well, I'm going to get into that. But anyway, so the reason we're doing this...
Wait. Everybody, that you were listening, just wait. He's going to do it later. He's not going to do it now.
Do you smell something?
You're going to wait. Where do these stairs go?
We're still doing the introduction. So come on, it's spooky times. It's spoopy times for everybody out there. And so it's the best time to watch horror movies.
The spoops and specters and...
Ghosts and goblins. It's a Batman reference. So
this podcast isn't for normal people. They'd be happier someplace else.
This podcast needs an enema.
Nothing has ever been more truer to life.
Yeah, everybody knows the staples. You can go on Netflix. You can go on, I don't know.
Listicle for whatever, like the top 10 horror films of all time. The must-watches.
Yeah, I'm sure BuzzFeed's got one every year. It's fine, whatever. But it doesn't really matter. But if you want to know some of the weirder stuff and why we like it, we got some ideas for you. Yeah, Jake and I watch mainstream stuff. We watch the underground stuff. We watch the indie stuff. We're not pretentious about this. I mean, sometimes Jake is, but we try not to be pretentious about this stuff. Just read his blog.
Across the bow.
No, that's not true. You're not pretentious.
I probably am.
Yeah, I probably am.
know.
But anyway. So one of the things that we do is we like genre stuff, right? So we try and dig deep and entrench ourselves in said genre, no matter what it is. And for better, for worse, we find a lot of the hidden stuff. So we'd like to present you, our listening audience, all 4 of you, with our list of underrated horror films that you should see for spooky season.
Yes. That's what we want to do.
Yes, have some.
Eat it up. You're going to love it.
And a friendly robot will count it up. All right. We both compiled lists, unbeknownst to each other. I mean, we knew we were doing it. We just didn't know what the movies were. And we're going to take turns. We're going to tag team this bit. And we're going to give you some...
Whoop. There it is.
Oh, I was going to say recommendations, but I guess I'll live with it.
Sorry, it's the tag team's back again.
You know what? You keep going. You're going to be in a house of pain, my friend. Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just all crisscrossed, aren't I?
Oh, I was literally going to say you missed the bus. God damn it.
It's hard to run when my pants are backwards.
That's why you missed the bus.
Shut up, Mom. You don't know what's cool.
So Jake and I approach movies differently. One is probably right, and the other's Jake. So we'll expand on how we do.
If you guys are keeping track, that's number 2.
No, Jake's the actual movie critic. I will intentionally watch a lot of bad stuff. So the way I approach it is I want to see good horror movies. I want to see all the good stuff. I want to see everything indie, mainstream. It doesn't matter. Just give me a good horror film. But then I will watch stuff intentionally that gives me just give me a good premise. If you don't execute it, whatever, it sucks, whatever, it's fine. But I'll watch it if at least they tried. This is novel. Because I'm not going to watch whatever, torture porn clone that's out there, every year. Or haunted ghost jump scare crap. Just a vehicle for, some 20-year-old actress or whatever.
But if it's a haunted ghost, I mean, that ghost is haunted, that's new to me.
Oh, wow. You got something going here. Baby, you got a stew going.
Tasty.
As long as
all it has to be is a film? Is that what you're saying?
No.
And it has to be something new. No, I'm just trying to. I'm listening to you.
No, don't be obtuse.
But obtuse is my middle name.
Yeah, I know. That's been really weird at the DMV, I'm sure.
Well, it's the DMV. It's always weird.
Honestly, it's more just that I want to see a premise that hasn't been done, or at least a premise that has the potential to be interesting. You know what I mean?
If it's a well-worn premise but well done,
yeah,
that's fine as well.
Sure.
But is this more of just you're giving a bump to well-intentioned and pushing horror film thought-forward films?
Well, that would be if I had any influence on anything. That's the way I categorized my list. I have two broad categories. Well-made and nice try.
Huh. All right. Okay.
The movie executed exactly what it was supposed to do. It's a good, well-made movie. And then you give me an interesting setup, even if it wasn't executed well. At least, you get a good game champ. So here's an example of...
I'm interested.
Here's what I don't include. Sucker Punch. It's new and weird and innovative, right? No, it's a terrible film that has a bad premise that thinks it's being innovative. I don't include movies like that.
Okay, I was like, are you specifically talking about Sucker Punch?
No, that's the archetype. That's the archetype of things that I don't include.
Let's see, what would be a good horror example of that?
Well, Evil Dead, fantastic example. That movie doesn't fit into any category. It's slapstick vaudeville horror, and yet it works on every level. and nobody can really explain why, but it does. Evil Dead 2 specifically, since it's basically just the remake of Evil Dead. But he tried something different. He tried a new approach. He tried taking horror at a different angle. And great. Cabin in the Woods. It's obviously it's built on archetypes from before, but it pulls off the meta approach to horror in a way that nobody else really has. That's a great movie. If you haven't seen the trailers, don't know anything. If you don't know anything about the movie's great. If you know anything about it, it's kind of whatever. But
okay, so maybe that was my problem with the film. I just knew what it was going to be.
See, I went into it blind. I had no idea because I watched an early release of it, and I was like, even just the first opening few scenes are like, wait, what? What's happening? And then it gets super meta and it digs in, and it's great. Which, unfortunately, that movie existing is why the remake of Evil Dead didn't work. Because it didn't know which direction to go. Cabin in the Woods is essentially is living in the cabin in the woods that Evil Dead built. It tried hard, but it didn't even know what it was.
When you were saying Cabin in the Woods, I was thinking Cabin Fever the whole time.
What is your thing with Cabin Fever?
Maybe just the flesh being pulled off.
Oh, is that your
the rusty
fetish?
tuna can
Is that your
lid?
fetish? Is that what's going on?
It's my extreme Pornhub tab. I can't help it.
Oh, God, please, no. Erase that immediately. FBI red flags everywhere.
You're not going to catch me, coppers.
As you're flaying a human being.
It had to happen.
Specifically Elijah Dushku.
Yeah, I don't need to talk bad about Eliza Dushku.
Well, I have some stories, but whatever.
Perhaps for another time.
So,
my scale is a little more...
pretentious, yes, we've used it.
That's number 3, folks. I would definitely say I'm much more of a harsher grader of films.
True.
Yes, you may possibly use the P word, but I do give things the bump when they do bring something new to the table, but they don't quite execute it to its fullest extent.
The only difference between the way we rate things is that you rate all movies on the same criteria.
Yes.
I use different criteria for different genres and concepts.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I can apply that too. I mean, yes, a movie I'm going to discuss, I'm a really big fan of it. In the grand scheme of film totality, from your Catwoman to your Citizen Kane, it's about middle of the road.
Wait, Catwoman is your end one there?
Catwoman's pretty fucking low.
There's no argument there. I'm just saying
Problem Child 2, does that work better? It's not always a one-to-one, and everything must be taken in context. But I do feel the need to judge comedies in the same way I judge dramas, in the same way I judge horror films, in the same way I judge documentaries. I can't encapsulate them like this horror film is a very good horror film, but I might not say it's a great film overall. That's just how I look at films personally.
That's not really any different than what I do. I just think we just communicate it differently.
Yes, well, you specifically put us on the... I think of movies one way. You think of movies a different way.
Yes. Well, that's why it's called a conversation, Jake. That's what this is.
I love that movie. It's a great movie.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, it's a great movie.
So we should probably talk about movies.
Well, technically we were this whole time.
Well,
Yes, about the horror films.
we're going to go tit for tat. Not that it's a competition, but just stuff that we both like.
See, and when he says not that it's a competition, that means it's a competition. That's how he's backhanding that.
This is not Battle Royale. I'm just letting them know.
If only it was. Could we make this podcast Ichi the Killer? Can we do that?
I almost put that on here, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I almost put on I Saw the Devil and Itchy the Killer.
Yeah, I try to steer clear of like what I think are staples, of the past 25 years of horror films.
Right. Even though I think less people have seen Audition than have seen, Exorcist, but still, we're trying to dig in.
Right. But you're not going to see an It Follows on this list. You're not going to see Possessor. Would you say Possessor is too well known? I kind of thought it got too much hype. Not for like the quality. It's just I think enough people saw it.
I think that movie had a lot of it had a lot of visibility. I don't know that
I really liked Possessor.
it was fine. Yeah.
It was more than fine. I thought it was quite good.
Right. So you give me one.
You would like a film. Well, I would like to suggest Anything for Jackson from 2020. This is a Shudder feature film. They are the exclusive right holders for that. It's a small indie horror film about these grandparents after their grandson dies in a car accident. They're grief-stricken. They're trying to find some way to bring him back. And so the grandfather is a doctor, and he kidnaps a pregnant woman and brings her to their home, and they try to perform a reverse exorcism to put the spirit of Jackson into that unborn baby so they can have him again.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
But, of course, things go awry, and then it becomes a race against time for them all to figure out what's going on before the spiritual shit hits the fan.
That's the medical term for it.
What I liked about this is it was inventive, well written, well acted, a unique story with unique characters, and they all felt very real. People did things that you would, once you get past the idea of, a reverse exorcism for their deceased grandson. A big problem I have with horror films a lot of times is that when I watch them and I see character X do action Y, I'm like, why did you do that? You had A, B, C, D to do. Those are the logical, normal things, but you chose this completely out of left field thing to do because that's what the script needed for you to get to the next part of the plot point. And it doesn't do that in this film. It moves very naturally. It keeps the scare, but it's not all jump scares. It's very
Rosemary's Baby,
yes,
psychological.
Yeah, it has that, but it also has your running in with the elements of the supernatural. It's very creepy the whole way through. I think the surprises that they keep in there, they're not too gimmicky. I think it's a fresh horror film, which I really enjoyed.
Certified fresh.
No tomatoes getting thrown at this one. And that was done by Justin G. Dyke, D-Y-C-K. A bit of a newer guy on the scene, but I'm really excited to see what he will do after this, because I really enjoyed this.
In that vein, in the indie horror genre, a film that I highly recommend, talk about the last 10 minutes, you will not see it coming. A film called A Dark Song. A joint British-Irish independent horror film, which is written and directed by Liam Gavin, and it stars Stephen Orem and Catherine Walker. Came out in 2017. It's technically a 2016 film, but in America it came out in 2017. It's a sparse, plotting, psychological, I don't want to say thriller. It's a slow build of tension. You kind of figure it out as you go along. It's what the narrative is, and then it slaps you in the face.
Yeah, it's been on my queue for a long time, and I just haven't pulled the trigger.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's going to be difficult to pull the trigger, because right now it's not streaming anywhere.
I know, and that's a shame because that one is one of the ones I was considering putting on my, well, this one I've seen already, but I'm going to watch it again anyway.
Ooh. That's high praise.
It's good. There have actually been a lot of really great Irish horror films that have come out the last 5 or 6 years. This is probably the best one I've seen.
Keeping the foreign film motif going, I have a definitely rarely seen film called Hagazusa. It's a 2017 film. It's an Austrian-German film. So this tells a dark legend of a young woman. I mean, the time frame is very unclear, but it's a time before
Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, Sigourney Weaver has not come yet. The Great Red Ape has not brought us all gifts. It's kind of coming of age, but there's this weird line between ancient magic and faith and madness and pagan beliefs and witches, and it kind of delves into what a woman of this time would have to endure, trying to live on her own. And then, is she part of this weird pagan belief? Is it in her head? Is it evil? Is it not? It's something kind of akin to The Witch.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely parallels there. I would say this is less outright horror. It's much more of a... Plotting is the right word, but it's meticulous. It's thoughtful. It's all about kind of what you don't see and what's going on in the shadows. And much more the psychological drain that it takes on this woman and what it sends her to do, what horrible things she ends up doing, and the horrible things that happen in her life. It's just kind of a dark, grinding, German, expressionistic thriller.
Germans know nothing about that.
It's just kind of black magic in its very frames.
So it's like a Suspiria type thing.
Yeah, I mean, you could
in that tone.
Yes, someone losing their innocence and kind of being left with nothing but maybe the darkness. A weave through her life, the dark path that it goes down. It's much more obtuse than The Witch, but if you're looking for something that is equally beautiful, something that gets under your skin, but you can't quite put your finger on it, you know, much more of a social, psychological situation and the darkness therein. Hagazusa will do that for you. And you can catch that on Canopy, streaming there, or Arrow. Everyone listening should check out Canopy. Canopy is what all of your local library, your university libraries, kind of like interlibrary loan, but for movies and TV shows. So if you have a library card or a university ID, or you work at a university, you have access to this digital library that's constantly being changed. They have new films. They have lots of Criterion films on there. Really great stuff. A lot of stuff you could only see on Canopy. It's well worth your time. It's free. I think you can get, depending on which institution you're going through, you get up to 15 watches a month. Yeah, it's a free resource that I don't think nearly enough people use, but they have their own mobile app. They have a Roku app. It's easy to use and plenty of stuff out there.
So let's keep it in the Austrian-German category.
Delightful.
It's a movie called Goodnight Mommy. It's a fantastic film. You are left off guard the entire time. It's a tour de force of that weird feeling you get when you watch horror movies. You want to just shake the person and tell them what's going on.
If you know what's going on.
If you think you know what's going on, but I guarantee you, when you watch it, you don't. You have no idea.
No, it's definitely doing one thing and doing another.
This woman gets plastic surgery, so her face is going to look different, and her two sons don't recognize her, and so they don't think she's the right woman. They think she's been replaced by somebody. And so you go down that whole rabbit hole, the entire film. This is a movie that does a reveal that you will not see coming and works really well. In German, it's ICIC, and in the UK, it was called Goodnight Mummy.
Goodnight, Mummy.
which sounds like Boris Karloff is scraping the bottom of the barrel toward the end, and
yeah, man. It's very much a Halloween children's book.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Did you know that Boris Karloff was not a popular actor? He had a hard time getting gigs, even though he was doing the horror movie thing. And Bela Lugosi was the guy that signed for everything. Basically, he didn't want to play the Mummy or Frankenstein. But Boris Karloff was like, I'll do it. I need the money.
I'd do it. Shit.
So he gets casted, and he couldn't see if you were wrapped in the bandages.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really hard to do it. So Boris Karloff, he came up with a new system. You know how in zombie movies and in everything with the Mummy and with Frankenstein, he's always got his arms out straight, like he's lunging toward you?
Yeah.
So
I know where this
Boris
is going.
Karloff did that on purpose. He was trying to feel himself around the set. And that became the like archetype for zombies and mummies and Frankensteins.
That's a great little anecdote. I like that. And speaking of not being able to see where he's going, this movie, you know, when it does do its twist, I think it re-encapsulates the whole film, and you look back on it and you see that it's how much of it's about pain and loss. I think it's similar to like the Babadook. I think is very similar.
I think that's an underrated film too. Yeah, I think that's a good movie.
I probably like the Babadook a bit more, but I think Goodnight Mommy definitely deserves a C. I was definitely a fan. Well, if you just got mind effed by Goodnight Mommy, and you want a little bit of maybe some dark action, a little splash of horror, splash of swords, I would suggest Headhunter, The Headhunter from 2018. Basic premise of this film, again, we're kind of in a mythical, medieval, you know, swords and castles and knights and blah, blah, blah. You have your main character. He's a monster killer who kills monsters. And when he kills them, he takes their heads.
At least he does what he loves, you know?
Hey, you know, he's good at his job. And he's killing these monsters, and he's just trying to find the monster that killed his daughter. And so, I mean, essentially the film, like, works. He's doing something, you know, sharpening the sword. He gets a call from the castle. Cut to him out doing his thing. Comes back, puts a monster head on a stake. It's very Spartan, but it's very stylish. And despite the cartoony concept, you might say,
yeah, no, I've seen that.
it moves quick. There's not a whole lot to it, you know, other than what you're seeing.
How does a movie with nothing happening in it happen so fast? That's the crazy thing.
And then once you get to theoretically the monster, then it becomes kind of very Evil Dead-ish as he's trying to kill this creature that's coming back after him. Mm-hmm. It's very inventive with not doing a whole lot. It's a film that has the monsters that you'd like, but it's not gonna spoop your pants off. But it's a good time.
I think it's a solo 13th Warrior.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, Viking Pathfinder 13th Warrior meets Evil Dead, medieval Viking warrior John Wicks it and just cuts monster heads off until he finds that one mean monster.
It's Beowulf, but he's not a braggadocious dick and just does the work.
Would you like Beowulf without any of that pesky dialogue?
Well, I mean...
yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to another Spartan film, another stripped down, simplistic, no frills, but I think fantastic thriller called Pontypool.
Ah, yes.
That's on my list of movies that I watch every October. It's the definition of give me a new concept, but then pulls it off. It's a fantastic film for that reason, in that context. Pontypool came out in 2008. It's Canadian, but give it a chance.
Yeah, take off, eh?
It's directed by Bruce McDonald, who is not a kid in the hall, no matter what you think. But it was written by Tony Burgess, the guy that plays the main character, who has done a lot of sci-fi fantasy and horror. He's been at Star Trek. He's just a guy you've seen. It's like Jeffrey
Great
Combs.
Voice.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You've seen the guy.
A History of Violence. I saw him. I just watched that recently again, and
he was. Yeah. Tony Burgess plays a shock jock in Canada, which makes him like Terry Gross. For America.
Yeah. He's a lead-in to Ferda and the Zoo Crew.
Everything takes place within one room for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally one man on the radio trying to talk to the audience about the events that are occurring outside as he learns more information. And It's sort of like, War of the Worlds in that sense.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
It's the same concept, but the sci-fi element to it, the MacGuffin in it, is so innovative and so interesting. Something that I had never even conceived of being possible before. It rockets this movie up on the list of stuff that if you want to see something new and interesting.
It is wholly unique and a fascinating watch. And you don't really know where it's going to go, what it's going to do.
Even at the end, you're like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what's happening here. It deals with a lot of different topics. And the reason that it works is because it's a standalone. It's the bottle episode type thing, but then also gives you an amazing sci-fi horror premise. I mean, like, that would be a great Star Trek episode. If that were a Twilight Zone episode, we'd be talking about it forever.
Oh, yeah. Very good 90-minute Twilight Zone episode with great production values and, yeah, a fun time.
Yep, all done in basically one room. The reason for that is because it was based on a play written by Tony Burgess. It just works on every level.
I'd like to switch it up for a second. And not every horror movie is good. Some are downright bad. But sometimes there are movies so bad that I would wholeheartedly say, go seek this out and watch it.
Sometimes there's a man.
Well, this dude is 2020's The Special. Do you know about this film at all?
I don't think I've seen this.
So this is a film about a man. He thinks his wife might be cheating on him. So he's talking to his buddy at the bar, and it's like, oh, things aren't going good at home, and I don't know what she's doing. And he's like, you know what? You need a little bit for yourself. Let me take you to this place, this massage place, this little brothel I know. We'll go there. And you know what? Since it's such a big time for you, it's like your birthday, whatever, and all this bad stuff's happening, we're going to get you The Special. I was like, oh, all right. Well, I could do that. It's tit for tat. So The Special is you go to this place, and it's, like run by gypsies, and they take you up to this room, and there's this box, and they say, all right, you just go to the box, don't look inside the box, but put your dick in the box.
What's inside the box?
Oh, well, you might have to watch the film.
Pain.
That's a big dooner there, good buddy.
10-4, we got a dooner.
Somebody called the office. We've got a dune in progress. It then becomes about this guy's obsession with going to this box, finding out what's in the box. He just
what's in the
destroys
box?
his whole life.
What's in the box?
There's a lot more than just glory to this particular hole. I mean, it definitely will tell you that if there's ever a box that you're supposed to put your dick in, don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. I like to watch movies about people who stick their dicks in boxes while pies are cooling.
That explains all those missing cups.
It gets kind of creepy, and it kind of gets very gross. I mean, the whole thing's gross from start to finish. It's a movie about a guy who puts his dick in a box. So, what do you expect?
Is it Justin Timberlake?
Well, there's only one way to find out. If you feel the need to watch The Special, you can see that on Amazon Prime. I don't know why. Or Tubi. And I don't know if I would suggest watching it with people. I don't know the best way to watch this. I watch this by myself, but I'm a sick...
I watch it with livestock.
Yes. Yeah. Get all of your goats around and just, get horny with The Special.
Get crazy with the Cheese Whiz.
Yeah, but it's not good. You need to see it to believe it.
Fair enough. There are a lot of films like that out there we should watch, including, oh man, I don't even know if we should watch this one.
What are we going to watch?
Came out the year I was born. It's a movie which is hilariously it refers to itself as an adventure comedy.
Which it most certainly is not.
It is 100% not that in any way, shape, or form. It's, in fact, the most reckless, irresponsible, dangerous film ever put on film. It's a movie called Roar from 1981, written, produced, and directed by Noel Marshall. It follows...
Who was an executive producer on The Exorcist.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, he was. But this is his only film he ever wrote, the only film he ever directed.
For good reason.
Oh, yeah. Not to step on your toes here, but the horror in this film, I mean, there are definitely some horrific situations, but it's knowing that this was happening,
exactly,
like live on camera.
This is the most meta. Well, no, not the most meta we're going to get, but this is the most like meta in real life you can get in a film. It's kind of like Cannibal Holocaust.
But I mean, even this, there's a greater level of reality to this. There are things that happen to animals within Cannibal Holocaust, which are equally as real.
And awful.
Yes.
So this movie follows around a character named Hank, and a naturalist who lives on a nature preserve in Africa with lions, tigers, and other jungle cats.
Oh my.
When his family visits him, they are confronted by the group of animals. So basically what you think happens. They are attacked by the cats that they supposedly look after. Did you ever see the documentary Cat Dancers?
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone should see Cat Dancers.
It's a great movie.
It is
Great
It
movie.
is great. And what the fuck is going on with these people?
Yeah.
These are wholly unique individuals. Their outlook on the world, which I'm assuming the outlook that Noel had at the same time. No one should live like this. No one should do this.
Tiger King's in the same vein.
Yeah.
What is with cat people? What is with David Bowie's cat people? I don't understand.
I don't know, but I like it.
So the thing about this movie, the thing that's most horrifying about this film, it really comes across as a horror film if you know that he used real cats in the movie. And all the situations you see are actually happening. So it got a lot of guff because, for a lot of reasons, but every time that someone is attacked by a tiger, they're actually being attacked by a tiger. Every time someone's mauled by a lion, they're actually being mauled by a lion. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea.
I don't know. But it is truly horrific.
It is horrific.
To watch.
Completely authentic, which I know that's what he was going for. But it's also the stupidest thing that anyone's ever put on film for that reason.
Yeah, I can't deny, and I won't fight you on that one. It is something to see.
This movie straight up has lions and tigers versus humans. And Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, and it's got Mel. Yeah. Tippi Hedren.
Yep, that's true.
There is a documentary, came out in 2017, called Roar, the most dangerous movie ever made.
Oh, yep, there you go. All right. At least somebody did it. We should watch it.
Yeah,
That's an insane...
it's got Joe Bob Briggs on it.
Why not?
And,
That's a guy...
and Jan de Bont.
I don't know how to read Joe Bob Briggs. Is he really into this stuff, or is it like an affectation? Is that his shtick?
And the way he delivers the lines, it's almost with this disdain.
Right.
Especially now. I don't really get it. There are people out there, I have friends who love him, watch every single thing he does right when it comes on.
Is he a national Ray Stevens doing Channel 62's late night theater? Or is he Elvira? I don't know. It's one of the two, right?
I think at this point, he has become, whether he wants to or not, people are all for it. In the late 90s, when he was on, TNT,
I think
doing this thing?
Yeah, it was either TNT or TBS. Doesn't matter, whatever. Well, either one.
Yeah. I felt like there was the excitement. It felt legitimate. I don't know if it feels the same way now.
Because it went from your local UHF station showing shit movies on Friday night to a national stage, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that recently Elvira finally got the rights to her name? She didn't have the rights to her own character?
Who had the rights?
Her ex-husband.
Oh. That's awful.
She finally left him and is now married to a woman.
Yeah, I saw that. Good for her.
Yeah, good for her. And she now has the rights to her own character so she can do whatever the she wants.
Yeah, Elvira.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're running out of time. So here's some stuff that you need to watch that we just didn't get to because we're us.
Yeah, we talk a lot.
We'll just do this all night if
Yeah.
you don't, give us boundaries.
You gotta rein us in.
Yep. So one I would suggest is Chud, if you haven't seen it.
Who doesn't love Chud?
There are a lot of people who don't know what that is. It came out in 1984. It's a great sci-fi horror film. It encapsulates New York at that period. It's kind of schlocky. It's actually pretty terrifying, and that's a good movie. It's legitimately a good movie.
Yeah, and you pair it up with its sequel, Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
That's the Ghostbusters 2 of the Chud franchise.
It is, but if you're having like a watch party with some friends for Halloween, put on Chud 1, and then you watch Chud 2 as you've imbibed enough alcohol and you're just having a good time. I think it works.
All of you people out there who are throwing around the word chud because you think it's a variation on the Chad concept.
Do people do that?
Yes.
Whoa, all right.
The Chads that are also gross.
Are they also humanoid underground dwellers that are cannibals?
That word was thrown around a lot on January 6th, so yes.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah.
Blarg.
Chud is one of those movies that everyone thinks is a shit direct-to-video movie. It has those tones, and it has that sort of theme to it, but it's actually a pretty good movie, horror-wise for that era. Pretty solid. And really good commentary on inadequacies of the New York government system.
Yeah, it really reminds me of a film I wasn't really going to talk about, but it just kind of popped in my head when you were talking about Chud. 1989's Society.
What just popped in there?
Yeah, have you ever seen Society?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, man. If you want the ultimate, kind of comes off like a B movie, maybe like a Karate Kid, maybe, teenage coming of age thing, but then just gets really gross, really disgustingly flesh melting off gross with a weird sex undertone and all about classicism. Society. It's wholly unique. Worth a watch.
For anyone who is put off by the title of a film, watch Midnight Meat Train to Georgia. Watch Midnight Meat Train. Kate and I used to use that as a trivia name.
That's a good one. I like that.
It came out in 2008. It's a horror film based on Clive Barker's short stories. They've been hit and miss for sure, but it's a terrible name. I laughed at it when I saw the trailer for it. It's actually a really solid, terrifying horror film. At least conceptually.
Yes, there's a lot of ideas going on in Midnight Meat Train. I can't say they all wholly work for me, but there's definitely a creep factor. It's doing something different. I will give it that.
Surprisingly so. Things in it that are devastating, and you will be surprised at how competent the film is. Because it sounds like it's a stupid bullshit jerk-off horror film, but actually it's well crafted for what it is. I mean, it's bound within the confines of the narrative, but man.
Yeah, it's surprising. If you're looking for a nice thriller, kind of a dark take on Stranger Things, nostalgia, kind of a teenage drama suspense, it's called Super Dark Times from 2017. It doesn't get super
dark,
horrifying. That's not what it's trying to do, but I think it's dreamy. It's believably acted, very consciously directed to capture both sorrow and hopefulness. The final act really kind of puts you on the edge of your seat, and it's a film that just nobody's seen. I don't know why. Kind of went under the radar. It's well worth it. What do you got? Skip another one or two?
I don't know how many of you guys out there have Silver Bullets. It's not great, but it's like an early entry werewolf movie if you're a kid.
Stephen King's Silver Bullet?
Stephen King's Silver Bullets. If you've ever seen that, or you've seen American Werewolf in London, which is a pretty great movie and a weird one that's hard to define as well. Another competent werewolf movie, because those are rare.
They most certainly are.
They are very rare. There's actually one that I didn't put on this list that is very good, but
What's that? Just throw it out.
I can't remember the name. That's why I didn't put it on there.
Well, what's it? It's just a werewolf?
What's it about werewolves, Jake? It's about fucking werewolves.
Whoa. That's mind-boggling. I didn't see that coming.
Movies.
with were peoples.
If you want to talk about a funny one, Wolf Cop. Not as bad as you think.
A Wolf Cop's okay.
It's okay.
It's ridiculous.
I haven't seen number 2, but it's okay.
No, it kind of gave me kind of like Officer Down kind of vibes, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Werewolf films are hard to get right.
Yeah.
And it's a rare gem when you find one. Here, well, I'll throw one out while you're looking that up. Similar to werewolf films that are hard to do right, I'll give you a vampire film that I thought was inventive and a unique take on it. It's a movie called Bliss from 2019. It's done by Joe Begos, who also did VFW. But essentially it takes kind of more of a psychedelic dive into becoming a vampire. Kind of think of it like more of like a Jacob's Ladder meets Introduction to Becoming a Vampire. very cool, artistic, unique version of that story. Vampirism as like drug addiction. It's worth checking out. It's creepy.
Okay. Yeah. We need more of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Finding vampire films that are worth a damn are, again, few and far between.
What was the last good vampire movie? Probably Interview? Well, the remake of Fright Night wasn't terrible.
Let Me In.
Oh, shit. Yeah, of
Or
course.
Let the Right One In, rather.
Let the Right One In / Let Me In, which I actually thought about including in
Right.
this, but most people should know this by now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a well-worn track there.
The werewolf movie that I think is completely underrated, a movie called Late Phases, where an aging Vietnam vet moves into a retirement home and then gets attacked by a werewolf, and then hilarity ensues. Now, if you ever think about dogs, if you love dogs, be warned, a dog does get hurt. I know, it hurt me too. I hate it. As a film overall, as a werewolf film especially, good movie. Like, surprisingly okay. It's kind of like, it's a combination of Silver Bullet and Don't Breathe, but from the perspective of the blind guy.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's really not that bad a movie. Got a lot of great reviews. It premiered at South by Southwest. People do enjoy it. I didn't think it was terrible. It's one of those where like they accidentally made a good film. Dark Sky Films accidentally hit on something.
It's free on Vudu, so
Yep.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's kind of like, like Dog Soldiers, where people like it, but it's better than Dog Soldiers. Don't worry about
Dog
that.
Soldiers is... I always bring up Dog Soldiers as being like, all right, conceptually, what's a cool thing to blend together? And like, oh, yeah, well, do the werewolves with, soldiers and they're stuck in a house.
Full Metal Jacket meets werewolves.
But when it would actually see it, it's like, oh,
Oh,
really doesn't work as well. I mean, maybe as an idea.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you, but it's funny because that's what gave Neil Marshall agency to make other films. Oh, okay. Except
Yeah.
then he goes out of his way to make maybe the most underrated horror film of all time in Descent,
The Scent. Yeah.
which is a top to bottom brilliant movie.
It's a horror film on two different levels. Because at one part, it's a straight... Friends are kind of stuck in a cave and you're like true claustrophobic. And then you get the twists and then there's like supernatural horror stuff going on and fighting for your life. Yeah, everybody should see The Descent.
Now, advice, only watch the British cut and do not watch the sequel.
I always wonder how the sequel was.
Oh no, you'll hate it.
Oh, okay. Well, no thank you. Huh. That's a lot of good fodder for you guys, huh?
Yeah.
I literally have a list of like 30 more films I could talk about.
Me too, yeah, but we can't do this forever, and obviously nobody's going to listen to 5 episodes of movies you should watch for Halloween, so...
Part 5 of our ongoing documentary series of horror films you should watch during the month of October.
Or Highlander. Just,
Oh, Highlander.
oh, you beautiful
Yeah, so if you hear this before Highlander, you got something coming.
Oh my god, we're not sure exactly when Highlander's going to land in your lap, but woo, please strap in. Just stick with it. It's worth it. You like horror movies? You want to see new stuff? Here, this is for you.
Yeah, this is for you. And if you know of some good underseen horror films, just drop us a line. Let us know what you think.
You can email us. You can tweet at us. We're out there.
Yeah, post on our Facebook page or our Instagram.
We're either at Dispatch Ajax or at Dispatch Ajax Pod, basically everywhere. So you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Phoning it in.
Generic ending. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Remember, no matter where you go, there you are.